tin gave way, and Stella tumbled front over end into the furnace, screaming. The only thing the few workers did finally hear over the roar of the furnace was the massive explosion, as Stella's boiler exploded as the water inside flashed to steam. Molten metal was everywhere. Of Stella, the only trace left of her was her slightly melted tender that was now fused with the tracks of the cooling glob of molten metal.
And they say on Halloween, Stella's ghost returns to the smelters looking for her lost whistle.
Edward finished before giving 2 loud toots on his whistle.
Ooh! Ah! Spooky!
The engines cried, all shivering a little. Just then, a familiar blue car pulled up. Shadows. Thomas wasn't sure, but the tender looked melted. Or so he thought as the flickering sparks lit the shed up. As Thomas backed down into a disused part of the smelting shed to turn back around to begin shunting, he looked all around for ghosts. He was so busy doing this, he didn't watch where he was going. Chains hanging from the cranes felt like ghost fingers as they scratched against his cab.
Oh, hey, something's got me. No, get off, go away, go on.
He came to a stop in the siding. As his fireman stepped down to set the points so the little blue tank engine could head back home, Thomas wheezed steam loudly. Suddenly, an old steam whistle sounded out.
The ghost whistle!
Cried Thomas. He was so scared, the moment his driver opened the regulator, Thomas raced away as fast as his wheels could carry him. His driver thought it was just a shift change whistle.
Whoa, Thomas, slow down. We still have shunting to do.
Thomas didn't care.
The ghost engine is after me!
He cried. Duck and Percy shed. He had a feeling some shunting was needed. But as he puffed along, he saw all the tracks in line, ready for work the next morning. He puffed into the disused part of the sheds and stopped.
Seems we don't have to do any work after all,
said his driver.
Driver? Could you give me a moment?
Sure, old boy. Come on, Sid. Let's get some coffee while we're here.
Once Edward's crew had left, he looked around. Besides the fizzing sparks and the sounds of the smelter shed, everything was quiet.
I know you're here,
he said, quietly. For a while, nothing happened, until an engine quietly puffed up from around a pile of scrap.
Playing tricks again?
Edward asked. The engine gave a cheeky hiss of steam.
I'm surprised that you're still here. I would have thought you'd have moved on after the steelworks bought those 2 diesels.
The engine hissed again, this time with less approval.
I know you worked here, but you shouldn't linger. Your unfortunate and horrible accident was in the past, and the work can be handled now that there are engines working here all the time. You don't need to stay.
The engine hissed again.
Argue all you want, but this place can manage alone. Or is there another reason you are here?
The engine hissed again, more sheepishly. Edward looked back and saw the rusty tender sitting quiet and forgotten.
You know a tender really isn't a part of us, right? Even if we feel our couplings, tenders can be swapped out for completely new ones. They are an extension, but not fully a part of our being.
The engine growled a little.
You can deny it all you want, but given how forgotten this line is, I have a feeling you'll be waiting here a long time still before you're reunited with your tender. How much longer are you gonna wait? Until it turns to dust?
The engine gave a hiss that sounded unsure.
Well, you'll have all the time in the world then to figure that out. You were always a little stubborn.
The engine gave a hiss that sounded almost like an airy giggle. Then it began to puff away.
I hope you'll keep the cheeky jokes in the meantime. Not every engine is ready to understand how complicated life and death is.
Puffing faded away into the sounds of the smelters. Edward looked up into the dark shadows for a moment longer, before his crew returned and he puffed back to the sheds. He wasn't sure if the spirit would behave, or if anything it could do would be noticed by Ari or Bert. But at the same time, he didn't need to know. He had a feeling sooner or later Stella would see sense and move on at last. She always did in the end.